I'm Tom Bassendale. I'm academic here in forensic science and chemistry in particular. I've been using the last couple of years a blog to explain a lot of my ideas around teaching, around the subject. I started it about 3 years ago. It wasn't altogether for altruistic reasons. I was on a short-term fixed contract and I wanted to start networking myself and get my name out there and communicating some of my ideas. I started off writing. Each blog was about 500 to 1,000 words. They take me a couple of hours. I often spend longer searching for nice pictures and images to go with it rather than the actual writing of it. My focus is generally on forensic science, the casework around it, different exciting cases that come up. Oscar Pistorius was a great example for me. And sports drug testing, which is my real area of interest. That was my PhD and focus. So I stick to the areas I know quite well. I started off doing once per week, but due to rather excessive workloads and life generally, it's dropped down to around one per month really this year. I started then to use it in my teaching. I started to drop some of the blogs into the sessions and spoke to people about what I'd been writing. And I decided to really use it for the two reasons in the teaching around the soft skills that we've heard about, employability issues, telling people about the industry, what's going on outside, how what we're teaching them in an academic concept actually has relevance out in the real world. And I've also used it to extend some of the science that I've taught as well, where we don't have enough time to go into depth on certain topics. I will add in some detail and perhaps some links to journal articles and other things that they can go and read at their own leisure. Once written, obviously I have to get it to the students. So this is a screenshot of one of my module sites on Blackboard, where we've got the official university module resource list, which goes to the Learning Centre, electronic resources. I use a Pinterest board for each of my modules as well, where I curate lots of different links, mine and other people's. And also I've got here embedded a hashtag for the shoe forensic plus my own Twitter feed. So they're on every module site. So I can use that to link to my blog and other sites of interest. The big question is, how is that working? Do students actually read it? Well, I've looked at the overall readership, and my blog gets about 1,500 page views a month, so it's pretty good. It's about 350 per week. It's got a very wide, broad readership. London's the biggest city in the world that reads it, apparently, or the most readers in that city. Sheffield comes second in the UK, and England, well it is actually mainly England. England and the US are the biggest countries of readership. I've built up to a moderate size of Twitter followers, 1,600-ish, compared with Eric's earlier, which was 12,000 or something. That's quite modest, but it started out with little things. And I have about 150 people who have enrolled on the website, who every time a blog is updated they get an email with a link to that. Otherwise I use social media to try and promote it through Twitter mainly. I do have a Facebook link, but I don't use that too often. So it's got good readership worldwide. Do the students read it? I know a lot of them follow me on Twitter. I have the odd conversation with them. Facebook, they have their own Facebook sites as groups. They don't want us involved in that. So I know occasionally when there's been an interesting one, they've shared it on theirs. And some of them do follow my Facebook profile as well. And then through Pinterest and so on, they also do follow. I know a number of them are following me on that. And I use it, particularly this year. I had a good example of, we had a discussion around whether doping should be a criminal offence rather than just an offence in sport, which has been proposed by the Department of Culture and Media and Sport. Just yesterday they issued a statement on that. So we had a discussion on it a couple of weeks ago, and that went down very well. And they'd read the blog in advance and came into the classroom and talked about it. Also gives them some nice exposure. They get to read people's comments on the blog that are actually professionals in forensic science area. I think that the main drawback, I'd say, is getting students to comment online, whether through Twitter, on the blog and so on. I think that's the next stage, is really trying to work out how to do that. So that's, my time's up. So we'll move on to questions in a few minutes. But what I'd also like is whether people have other blogs that they use for teaching. So I can start kind of drawing together some links and see what other people are doing. Thanks.